Legend, which I recently wrote a book about called The Panther Perspective.
Okay, and so how long was the trail that you ran?
It was 1,911 miles in the end. Yeah,
and it
took me 5.5 months.
Right.
So I took my time, 148 days, but it was amazing.
And that was the longest, the biggest thing that you'd undertaken.
Definitely. Before that, I think I'd run for 3 days in a row, and that was it. And I just thought, let's go all or nothing.
Yeah. And what made you decide to do such a mad challenge? What was it about running in itself?
I love running. I love the way it makes you feel, how free you feel, and so I'd always wanted to see how far my body could go. And then I started reading all these endurance books like Born to Run and things like that, and it just planted a little seed where I'd always considered myself not to be a runner, and that was for other people. You know, that was for really skinny people in tiny shorts with split times. And I just thought, well, maybe I can do that. And I guess it was like a bit of a big experiment. And I just thought, what happens? What happens if I push my body like this? And I just had a tiny little thought, maybe I can actually do it. And so I just set out to find out, basically, and thought, what's the worst that can happen?
What were you doing at the time? So you were living in London?
In London, I've got a background in corporate marketing, so I was still doing that. So I was in the phase of sort of working in an office 9 to 5, so I would wake up in the morning 4:30, on the road by 5 o'clock, run 3 hours to work along the towpath of the Thames, and then be in the office and have done my training for the day. So I was fitting it all around working life, basically. And I don't do that kind of work anymore, but I needed that platform of a bit of both, of saving up and.
Do you think that kind of also helped to prompt you want to do it, just to be out of the office? You know, what was there that made you, lots of people have dreams of doing something, but, there's something in some people that goes, that's it, and sometimes it could be escape from an office or whatever it might be.
So in 2013, a couple of years before the run, I'd been sat at my desk and I'd been in the corporate world for sort of 7 years, and I just sat there and I had this thought, and I thought, what am I doing here? Because I was having a really frustrating day, and someone said, you have to be here, you're building a career, and I thought, I don't want to be here. And it was this amazing realisation that if I didn't want to be there, I'm not a child anymore, I don't have to be there, which is scary, because then you go, well, where do I want to be? And so that kick-started, I went off and did a long bike ride through every state of America, and that's I thought that was scratching an itch, but actually when I came back from that, I thought, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. I don't know where it's leading or what it's going to end up with me doing, but I'm supposed to be on adventures, sharing my journey, blogging, writing. That's what makes me happy. So I'd done that adventure before, so New Zealand was kind of okay, I'll just do it again and then see how I feel.
So you had said, I've just listened to your speech, and you were saying something about comfortable in your challenge and dancing with failure. Which I thought is a great line. So, I mean, what makes you, if you were giving advice to any other women, how would you help them feel comfortable with dancing with failure? Because that's where it's at the edge of that change happens, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. Just as you said, how do you feel comfortable with it? It's really uncomfortable, and I think the first thing is to realise that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Those emotions that you experience, self-doubt and all the voices telling you can't do things, that's normal, and they're just voices, so they're not actions. And you can turn around, you can say to those voices, okay, maybe you don't think I can do this, but this other part of me thinks I can, so I'm going to give it a try. So I'd say the first thing is to understand that if you're going to do something worthwhile, it's going to be uncomfortable, but what lies on the other side of that is amazing. You get there and you look back and you think, man, I'm so pleased that I pushed through that and came out the other side. And the other thing I'd say is, it's your life. I think everyone thinks everyone else is looking at them. Everyone's concerned with themselves, so no one's actually looking at what you're doing. So you might as well just do what you want, because no one's going to laugh at you, and just honour yourself, really, and the fact that life is precious and to be lived.
Have you failed at anything?
I wanted to be an Olympic rower. So, because my parents were Olympians, I really took on that as an Olympic dream, and I was in the GB rowing school for a few years, and I failed to make it to the Olympics, and I chose to let the dream go. I could have carried on, but that at the time that was huge. Something I'd ploughed my life into for 5 years. Training 2 or 3 times a day, and to turn around and go, I'm not going to make it. That was gutting. But that, I think, taught me everything I needed to know, that in those years of training, I made so many friends, I learned loads of stuff, and it gave me a basis for what I'm doing now. So really, it wasn't a failure in the end. It felt like that at the time. So I just don't, there really isn't a failure. It's just a failure.
So do you think all failures end up with the foundations for something else?
Definitely. You learn, and even when, like I say, no one tells a great story about the time it all went to plan. Nothing, nothing exciting ever goes to plan. You're not close enough to the edge if it's going to plan. And so I think, failures are good. There's always something you learn coming out at the end of something going wrong.
So if there are someone out there another woman wanting to do an adventure, what were the 3 things that you would say are the most important things about thinking about, like, setting it up?
Setting it up, I would say, first of all, make a start, and however that means. So that could mean putting £20 away into a bank account sort of every week, every month to start saving for it. That could mean telling other people about it. Make a start in some way, and let people know that you're going towards that goal. That would be a first thing. The other thing I would say is, listen to yourself and all the voices that tell you can and can't do things, and don't ignore them. But be aware that they're just thoughts, and you can actually get past them. You don't have to listen to them. And the third thing would be, know that you are capable of so much more than you'll ever realise. And that is definitely the thing you need to remember.
And 3 most important pieces of kit if you're going to go long.
I love a buff, a scarf, because you like headband, everything like snot rag, all of that. A bobble hat, because it gets cold, especially in New Zealand, the mountains. And my final bit of kit, I always take some kind of mascot, a stuffed toy. I had a bear on my long cycle, and I had a stuffed kiwi bird for this one. And that, it just reminds me, not to be too serious, and just to have something to talk to when you're on your own. So
and what made you, because the title of your book is...
The Pants of Perspective, actually that is another important item of kit. That is something to snap
stand down and show
the unicorn there and the robot. Brightening up the couch. I mean, I always put something in my bag. It might not be these pants, but something to actually remind me that, we're lucky. This is get things in perspective. You're here, you're alive, everything's fine. Like, no dramas, just carry on.
Well, that last bit on your New Zealand trek. Or did you break your ankle?
No, it was just sprained. Thank goodness. So it took me about 6 weeks of having it strapped up and icing it in rivers to get the swelling down.
And you were in the middle of nowhere on your own when that happened.
It was terrifying. Because I just felt out of my depth. I thought, I grew up in Kingston. I've been across Richmond Park. I'm not at one with the Kiwi backcountry at all. But again, looking back, I'm so glad that happened, because when you're at that rock bottom point, you find this whole other level, and something comes up in you and says, you cannot beat me, I'm stronger than this.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.